Benfica Podcast is one of the founding members of Benfica Independent. Benfica Independent is an independent platform made by fans for fans. And in it, you can find our podcast, along with many other podcasts, along with articles of opinion, video segments, and much, much more. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/Benfica Independent, with exclusive contents for our patrons.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo. Sí, es un club que tiene una grandeza que no se comprende si no estás aquí dentro.
São de uma magia única, benfiquista, que só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. E o valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças, as always, coming to you every week with the latest and greatest in Benfica land. And today, quite a busy day. Quite a busy day. With me, a man that hasn't caught any shut-eye during this whole month of January. He is the Fontenário, primary Fontenário. The guy that at 11 a.m. this morning was saying, "Ciao, Enzo," and he was so sure of himself that I said, I'm going to save this tweet. And if you're wrong, you're going to get beat up later in the program.
Já estou habituado.
Cristiano, como é que é, amigo?
What's going on, Alfredo?
Same old, same old.
Bittersweet day today.
Bittersweet? No, I think it's all sweet.
The sweet part is that I'm here with you once again with our tremendous...
There's more than sweet.
With nosso grande David from up north, talking to the Benfiquistas about another fantastic 3 points today. So, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of bitterness.
6 points.
There's a little bit.
Since the last time we were here.
Oh, snap. We still got to talk about that one game. That's right. I forgot.
That's right. Dave, how you been, Dave?
I've been good, been busy, but almost couldn't make it on tonight's pod. I had texted Alfredo earlier in the day saying I won't be able to make it, but later on this evening I said I need a therapy session, so hopped on with the boys.
I don't know what's there to therapy.
I need to be amongst the people and see how people are feeling about this Enzo saga coming to an end. So I'm gonna treat it as a therapy session and just let it all out tonight.
I'll tell you, you know who's also ready to speak tonight and ready for a therapy session? Our beautiful Freddy's in our chat. Want to say what's up to Diogo Reis, Cindy Souza, Chico Marcelino, Cristiano Oliva. Oh, that's me. Nuno M, Alfredo Fumaças, everybody in the chat. All the Freddies are welcome. Please let us know what you think. Voice yourselves. We're going to post a link in the chat very soon, right?
A little
later, we'll post a link in the chat to give you guys an opportunity to click on it, and you can come on the show live and obviously voice your opinion here on the podcast. I know some of you are frustrated, some of you are excited, and hopefully some of you are smart and understand what really has gone on behind the scenes. But I'm pretty sure we'll get into that as the podcast goes along.
It's going to be a Zoom link, much like
Zoom this out because this is going to scare people.
Just look, just like you'd see it in Benfica Independent forums and stuff like that. I'll give people a heads up, but you can only join with audio, or else you're gonna screw up Dave here on the corner. But here we are, episode 472. Here we are, last day of the transfer window, and I swear to God, these past couple of days have been really, really, really painful. I wish they were done. But that's the transfer window is not the only thing that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be recapping the Passo Ferreira game. We're going to be recapping the Aroca game, which happened today. looking at the transfer window, as I mentioned. And we got Casapia that comes up this weekend. And also we look ahead to what February has in store for Benfica in terms of fixtures. Portuguese Cup, UCL, league games, all busy February game, February month with about 5 games. 5 games for the shortest month of the year. So Benfica will be busy. Good thing that we already moved one of the games that we were supposed to play in February. So it was good play by Benfica. But here we are. Let's get right into this. Let's get it right into this Passo Ferreira. Benfica travel up to the capital do Móvel. Cristiano, did you know that they have an IKEA in Passo Ferreira?
No, but I do know that they make móveis.
They make móveis?
Móveis or móveis? Whatever. I got lost there one time.
You got lost?
In Passo Ferreira. And it's no joke. Every single warehouse was Capital do Móvel. Capital do Móvel. They all make the best móveis.
Was it like a every
It was
warehouse
furniture. It was furniture.
place?
It was a furniture place all over.
Nice.
And then I went back a few years later to buy some furniture because they give you like that real wood.
Yeah.
The real wood, the good stuff.
Not
Not that
handmade
IKEA stuff. That's like the mix of the crumbs, and they mix it up together with a little bit of glue, and then they act like it's wood.
Composite.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah. But Passo Ferreira was a nice little town.
Yeah.
What's the name of the campo?
Material.
That's a phenomenal name. That's awesome.
More phenomenal is their mascot.
They got a mascot.
O Castor.
The beaver.
Oh,
We had this conversation last
did
week.
we? I don't remember.
Yeah.
The
We had
Castor.
this conversation
The Castor
last-
sounds like the castrator. Is that
No,
what? No,
Castor, that's how you call it. That's how what beaver is in Portuguese. Castor.
a beaver. Oh yeah, the beaver.
The beaver.
Yeah, we didn't
Beaver
know.
with the backwards hat.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm lost. But
They
I do
like
recall.
really nice social media campaigns with the beaver.
I do recall Dave saying that there's a ton of beavers up north. But I forgot all about. I mean, look, to be brutally honest with you, man,
Be brutally honest,
we
there's
really-
beavers everywhere. You just don't see them.
I just never saw him in Portugal.
Yeah.
I never saw him in Portugal. But to be brutally honest with you, though, man, like these last 24 hours, it's just succumbed so much of my time and our times and our attention that we've completely forgot about it. I mean, I'd forgotten about the
Beavers?
game. What was the score? I forgot about that. I watched it. I think I watched
2-0.
it.
Do nothing. It's on
I
the
watched
screen.
it. Where's the screen? Oh, this screen.
Passo Ferreira 0, Benfica 2.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Scored.
Flaco Dimos was in goal. Bas, Silva, Otamendi, and Grimaldo.
I'm lost.
Tino and Enzo. João Mário, Auschnes, Gedge, and Ramos. Yeah, it was the first game for Gedge.
No.
Yes.
No, first game
Starting.
for Gedge was Marítimo.
Starting.
Oh, starting. He scored against Marítimo. Then he started the... Yeah,
no,
okay.
it's
No,
Santa Clara.
Santa close.
Right.
It's an island.
First game for
Watch
Gedge.
out. Watch out.
I know. I get beat up.
It's a touchy subject.
Wait, am I lying, though? Is it not an island?
It is an island.
Is Madeira an
It's
island?
an-
Multiple islands.
Okay, Madeira is an island. So is an island. Dave, why are you instigating, Dave?
Well, do you know how many islands the Açores is made of?
If it's like the Gafanha, it's 9 of them.
I think you're right.
I'm a
9
machine.
islands, right? Dave?
It's either 9 or 7. I
Oh,
want to
you
say.
guys, you guys are from there. You don't know. How you expect me to know?
This is an insult to all the Azorians. That
No,
follow us.
no, bro. There's just São Miguel. That's all I need to know.
There's several.
No, São Miguel is the king.
São
Jesus,
Miguel,
all the other ones are gonna get
São
offended.
Miguel, Pico. There's a bunch of them.
Where's Rabo do Peixe from?
Rabo de Peixe
That's
is
a-
over
San
there.
Miguel.
Imagine.
But that's just a neighborhood.
But
like
no, but
Rabo
there's
de
a
Peixe.
club, Rabo do Peixe.
Yeah.
The football
That's
club.
like a neighbor.
Imagine they get
like a-
promoted first club today in the Europa League competition. Fishtail.
Yeah, Cindy says 9, so Cindy's on point.
So I was right. No, not
right.
Cindy. Cindy, with all due respect. Who's on point for who was?
Cindy said 9. You
But
said
who was? I said 9, like Gafanhas.
like Gafanhas.
Y'all was put on the hot seat, and I delivered once again.
Delivered once again.
Once again, baby.
Yeah. Anyway, Benfica got started really early. 7 minutes in, 1-0 by Grimaldo. That wonderful free kick. Specialist, yes or no?
We got Terceira in the house, San Miguel and Marlene. Bro, we're gonna turn this one day from a Benfica podcast into one. What do you call it? The geography podcast. Because you não percebe nada.
Não percebemos nada is right.
Já futebol não percebemos nada. Agora imagina geography. What was the
you imagine
question?
that?
What was the question?
Grimaldo scored on a free kick. Can we consider him a
Oh!
specialist at this point?
I mean, look, you recall the
He
conversations.
got some criticism on this podcast.
Oh, plenty.
And at some point, you felt that he hadn't achieved specialist status yet.
No, I mean, I remember the guy scored that we remember like 1 or 2, and they were calling him Specialista.
Well,
Like,
as he reached
Now, I think he's got 9. So now he's, at least look, how about this? The current 22-23 season, my man's got his punteria sharpened up. He is a specialista. Every time he goes up to take a free kick, man, you gotta pay attention.
I
because
just think that Ponteria thing has something to do with Seferovic not being there, rubbing off that missed Ponteria on everyone.
Hey, man, don't talk about Seferovic. He's off to Celta de Vigo in Spain
He's
today.
a world traveler.
Wish him best of luck. But Grimaldo, man, for sure. I think
Free kick specialist.
I think I've criticized his overall play over the years. In this season, he's been nothing short of spectacular. From his free kicks to even his defending has been improved. It's amazing what motivation to get a bumper contract, a mega signing bonus somewhere else gets you to do. And Grimaldo, credit to him. And credit to the staff, I guess, for believing in him to keep taking these free kicks. So
yeah, look,
So he's as good as gone, right? Because he's not.
I think so.
He's not re-signing with us.
I think he gave us 8 years. I think even if Benfica comes close to what he feels he should be paid, I think at this point he wants to go try out different competition. I don't blame him. 8 years, spending 8 years in the club, it's significant, and we hope that young players that come to us spend that much time at the club. And if you recall, when Grimaldo joined us, he was a young kid coming from La Masia, Barcelona. And he joined us halfway through the year. Didn't play played a little bit towards the end of the season. But didn't really become a starter until the following year. And he's had up and down years, but this year has been lights out.
He's been everything that we thought we were getting 8 years ago.
Free kicks, assists. I mean, he was always up there on the assist alley, but yeah. 4 minutes later, 2-0 by João Mario, and I think this is becoming a trend here, Chris. Benfica starts strong. It's 15 minutos a Benfica.
Yeah, them first 15
They start
minutes.
strong, score a couple goals, and then they manage the game. In years past, this probably wasn't a good recipe, but the fact that Benfica could hold the ball, they can combine, they could keep possession, they could keep the clock on their own pace. I think it's been great. In today's game, we saw the same thing. Very fast start by Benfica, getting on a scoreboard. But yeah.
But is it a concerning trend, though? I mean, as much as we want to see Benfica start off the game and put it away and kind of, get that breather in, right, and not have to suffer for the rest of the game, but it's back-to-back games that Benfica has a pretty good first half, and then the second half, it's as if they've fallen asleep, and it's a totally different game in the second half. So, yeah, credit to them for doing what they have to do and putting the game away, at least in terms of the scoreboard, right? But the games haven't necessarily been out of reach for the opposition. Benfica's not closed the door and shut down the opponents in terms of chances to make things interesting in the second half. So, I mean, it's a trend. Dave, have you noticed the same?
That's fine. That's fine. Against these Monkus here, that's not a problem. It's not going to come to bite us in the ass. And at least this Benfica team that we're seeing this season is different from Benfica teams of years past where it has come to bite us in the half, where we have one great half and then the second half we completely fall apart and we try to put in cruise control and we end up either conceding or getting a draw to the match. But this team under Roger Schmidt, I think that's his plan, to get the goals in early so that they have the ability to manage the game, rest some of their players, get some run in for the guys off the bench. So against these Monkus, I'm not concerned about it. I know you guys had predicted some 4-1s or 5-0 score lines against Pashus, but I said it was going to be.
Nobody's asking about that, Dave.
No, but I'm putting it out there. But I said 2-0
I'm
because
joking.
the way I've seen this Benfica team manage the games now, they're not looking to score 3, 4, 5, 6 goals anymore. They want to put the game away early and then just manage it and put it in cruise control, which I'm fine with, as long as we get the 3 points against these smaller clubs. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think the difference is that we manage the game a lot better than in years past, which is something that we always struggled, and we found ourselves against the Rocas of Desta Vida against the ropes with 15 minutes to go. And you really didn't need to go through that, but that was the suffering that we went through. But now
I didn't have to go through it.
much better. No, the suffering that in years past that we have, like in the 15 minutes,
Yes.
we're defending for our lives. Vlaco Dimas is laying on the ground trying to kill time.
No,
in the
and a
last
lot of
15
other
minutes.
times we control the possession of the game. We're creating opportunities. We're not making the best of it. And then because we're not putting the game away, we leave some breathing space for the opposition, and they score, and before you know it, we're defending for our lives. I mean, it happened at the beginning of the season this year. If you recall the first game against Pas Ferreira, right? Interestingly enough, it was similar to this game. At the start of the lose, Benfica jump out to a 3-1 lead, I believe, and then in late second half, Passo scores another one. It's 3-2, and Benfica hung on for dear life to get the 3 points, if you guys recall. So it's a trend that we've seen more often than we would like to see at Benfica throughout this season, and hopefully Roger Schmidt clears it up. I know we'll get into today's game, but today's game was a little bit more relaxed than these previous two games, as we mentioned, Santa Clara and Pasto Ferreira. So hopefully it's something that they clean up. But I mean, I think it's something that needs to be brought up because it's concerning. As Dave mentioned, against these Mancos, you get away with it. But as the competition gets stiffer, I mean, you don't want to go through those moments because obviously as the competition gets better, these teams can make you pay. And then before we know, we're struggling and we're really fighting to get the 3 points.
Yeah, let's aside from the 3 points that we got in this game, I was saying 6. One thing that's concerning a lot of Benfiquistas, Ramos pulling out in the 58th minute, what it looked like an apparent muscle injury. Obviously, you didn't figure out in today's game, so he's hurt. I don't know. Have you heard about in terms of how much time he's going to be out for?
I heard he might be available for the next game. It was more for precautionary reasons. It's not really a tear. It's more of a little pull, and they just want to manage it. If they don't have to risk it, why do it? So hopefully we'll see him again. If not, in the next game, look, we have very important games coming up, Champions League games and everything else. So I think it's imperative that we have him healthy for those key matches down the road. But again, as Dave said, we're playing a bunch of Mancos right now. And with all these new acquisitions and, Guedes is a guy, as we talked about when he initially arrived a week and a half ago, whatever it was, that he fit dual roles. He could play on the wing. He could play up top when Ramos was out, and we saw that today. So, I mean, Benfica do have options, but it's still a concern because Ramos, man, is a legit 9, and he stretches the field, and he's a guy that could play in the box. He's tremendous at applying pressure. He's a player that on this Benfica team fits like a glove. So it's very important to get the guy back healthy as soon as possible.
Yeah. So an important result for Benfica, especially because this is a match that was part of the 20th round, a round in which I believe that Sporting plays Braga or Porto plays Braga or Porto plays Sporting, something like that. I know that direct opponents play each other, so it was crucial for Benfica to get those 3 points, especially when you play up north in the winter, heavy fields. Sometimes you got to deal with the weather elements. So it was a good 3 points for Benfica. Dave, you got any stats? Or I know you joined us a little spur of the moment thing. I don't know if you have any notes.
Yeah, I got some stats. So we were talking about Grimaldo and his free kicks, his fourth free kick goal of the season, 9th overall in his Benfica career, second most from a Benfica player in Benfica's history, scored in one season. So Van Hooijdonk scored 6 in a season in 2000, 2001, and Simão and Grimaldo have both scored 4 each. So
2 free kick
Grimaldo, there you go. We used to joke about it, but I guess you can put that on his football manager profile, free kick specialist.
I don't know how many of you guys remember Simão. Certainly, Chris and I watched him play, but
he was sold to Liverpool in 2005. He was on the airplane, and Luis Riviera f things up and couldn't get to an agreement with Liverpool. So I think it's fitting considering what happened today. So yeah, but Simão Sabrosa, if you don't know, Sabrosa. Remember that guy used to do the play-by-play?
The biggest thing with Simão is that whenever he placed the ball, and you saw more or less where he was, you almost said this could be a goal right here. He was so good in free kicks, and I think that now when you see Grimaldo put the ball on the spot and you see that the distance is there, that you're like, this could be a goal. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to have a guy that has that ability.
Van Hooijdonk for a while was phenomenal. Simon was phenomenal. Gaetan wasn't bad. Remember, he scored that Panenka from the free kick. Benfica's, we've been fortunate to see some
Cardozo,
guys.
man.
Cardozo, I think, has the most goals ever free kick, at least in terms of since they started holding paying attention to those types of stats.
Yeah.
I think I've read some. It was one of the chats. The guys, the fellas from Benfica FM and what everybody, they were talking about it. So, yeah, I mean, hey, look, Grimaldo, keep it on, babe. As long as you're here, play your little heart out. Give us the very best that you can give us. And at the end of the season, give me the Caneco and see you on your merry way. Benfica now is going to have plenty of money to play a left back. Unfortunately, they let go of my Vizinho, who scored a banger today. And what it was, Stuttgart. My Vizinho was gone. But, Benfica will have plenty of options in the offseason. Again, as long as Grimaldo just keeps playing the level he's been playing lately, man, I don't think any of us Benfiquistas is going to have a bad word to say about the kid when he walks out the door.
Yeah. Next up.
But is that just to play devil's advocate here? Is that poor financial mismanagement by the club here? Because how many transfer seasons have gone by and we're saying, okay, this is the year. The biggest rumor for the longest time, Grimaldo going to Napoli. Remember, it was 20 million, and now we're gonna let him go for free. We're just gonna let him walk. I feel like there's a missed chance there.
Dave?
No, but I understand what Dave is saying. You're not understanding what Dave is saying.
You're not
is that
capitalizing.
they had an opportunity to make some bank off of him.
Did they?
Yes.
I don't know, but that's what Dave's saying. According,
the rumor was, but we don't know if it's true or not. But the rumor was.
He was going to Barcelona in the offseason, and then Xavi Hernandez chopped it up.
That was this offseason, but from 3 seasons ago, there's always been Grimaldo rumors.
Juventus, Napoli, all those. Yeah, exactly. So, but look, it is what it is, Dave. I'm with you. Rather make some money off the guys before they walk out the door. But if Benfica do go ahead and convert this tremendous start that they've had this season, they converted to numero 38. It is what it is. I think all of us will accept it for what it is, and he's going to be a big contributor to that title, and we'll just, we'll take the title as a payment. You know what I'm saying, Dave?
Sounds good to me.
Agreed.
Sounds good. Listen, Alfredo, before you go on,
you got questions?
Not questions, but there's so many. I mean, we
people in
love the
chat.
Freddies in the chat. I guess they're talking about, Hugo comes in here firing at all. But he goes, all the good work in the transfer window all gone down the drain today.
We'll get there.
How can Rico? Exactly. I know I'm getting ahead, but I guess we'll wait for a little while. But there's so many comments, and everybody's really interested in what the hell's going on and what went down with Enzo. They don't really give a crap about the recap of Paz Ferreira.
We'll go through this
Aroca
thing rather quickly, which Aroca happened today. Benfica traveled up north. Vlaco Dimos, Ba, Silva, Otamendi, Grimaldo, Tino and Chiquinho, João Mario and Auschnitz, Gedge and Neres up front. We found out today the team actually traveled this morning by plane to the north of Portugal to play Aroca, and we found out that Enzo was not on the plane, or he hadn't even made the game roster. So right off the bat, there's all these kind of questions in terms of what's happening with Enzo. But also, understanding the way Schmidt operates, it's possible that he was protecting a player. It's possible that he wanted to keep the group focused on the game and not so much of what was happening with Enzo. And I think that was the best thing that he could have done. Whether the deal went through or not, it was the best thing that he could have done. Protect the team, shelter the team, keep the team focused on the game.
Yeah, we saw that.
Enzo in Lisbon.
That didn't go well against Braga and Minho. And I don't think they want a repeat of that.
He played right.
I don't think he wanted. That's what I'm saying. That didn't go well. And this time around, he wanted to protect the team and shelter the team from the nonsense and all the questions that were going on. Because I think there was an inkling by the coach and everybody in the club. They had to know that this was coming down. As you mentioned, at 11 a.m., I already knew he was out the door. This was, reported the last hour. But come on, man, these things aren't decided at the last minute. These are things that clubs in the organization and directors, they take into consideration. And look, credit to Roger Schmidt for understanding and reading the room. As we mentioned many times, it's important that a coach reads the room, understands exactly how to motivate his players and how to treat his players and how to get them into the right mindset. And I think he did exactly that. The one thing, though, totally off topic, that I found very interesting is that when Benfica goes to play Braga, they take that 4-hour bus drive. But this time to go to Roca, they flew.
Well,
What is it, a token flight?
No, they go the night before.
Okay, fine. But this time
When
they
they
flew.
take the bus.
So I guess because same day? I guess they wanted to keep everybody in Lisbon in case they had to pack last second in order for a move days.
It's possible. And maybe it came down to is like, well, does he travel? Does he not? And I hate for one player to be the motive of why a team alters their traveling plans, right? It should never be like that. But I think that maybe the team did the right thing by doing that, by taking a plane today, getting there, and whether they went to the hotel to eat and then a meal, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know why the team decided to travel today as opposed to when they usually travel the day before.
It probably has to do with the transfer window. The fact
could
that
be.
at any
It could
moment, any offer could come in, and we want to
Well,
keep the guys close in
Yeah,
order to
and-
get things
and
done.
Think about this: the word didn't come about Enzo.
No, but I'm not
until
just
the
talking
game
about
finished.
Enzo. I'm not just talking about Enzo. I'm talking about everybody
Think
else.
about the timing of all. Yeah.
I'm talking about making the decision. You asked, you don't know what the reason why was that they flew out today. And I'm saying maybe they wanted to keep everybody close to home in case of, one of those offers that's too good to refuse comes in, and all of a sudden they got to scramble to get the guys back home from up north and whatnot. So
No, I get
I
that.
think it has something to do with that.
I get that. So again, Benfica getting on the board early, 25th minute. João Mário, assist from Auschnitz, and Benfica were just much superior to Aroca in this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, the game at first, it wasn't the prettiest game to watch, right? The feel, I know some of you got
Very
upset with
bouncy,
me
very
when I
bouncy.
criticized the pitch up in the Sodas, and now I'm criticizing a pitch in my home state, whatever, of Aveiro. It was terrible pitch conditions. The ball seemed to be bouncing all over the place. You couldn't keep the ball on the ground. Benfica, even though they were dominating possession or weren't really creating much, right? Benfica was all playing in Aroca's half. But at the end of the day, they found a way to break down the left side. What's his name? Neres was able to find Arsenal's was cutting into the box. Arsenal cuts it across, and João Mário, who's been, you talk about another player that's playing to a level that none of us expected this year.
Yep.
That's João Mário. But to me, what was very interesting about this game is if you look at the roster, I've seen a lot of comments, and again, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but I've seen a lot of comments on the chat referring to who replaces Enzo, and everybody's responding with Arsenal. But if you look at today, the very first opportunity or the very first game that Benfica's played without Enzo Perez, and it was Chiquinho that was playing in his role.
Yeah.
And to me, the one thing that really boggled my mind is you got Chiquinho playing in his role in the middle alongside Florentino. You got Arsenal on the left, João Mário on the right, and you got Neres playing in the middle. And I'm like, what the?
Up front.
I know it was up front, but he was kind of like that second striker in the middle. And then, I spoke to because I started texting and sending out texts throughout the game. I mean, this is one of the very few games that I think I spent more time paying attention to my phone than I did to the actual game. But I texted a former Benfica player, former Portuguese international. I said, bro, and I think I texted you similar. I said, bro, I don't understand what the hell Roger Schmidt's doing. And he said, look, he wants to keep these two guys out wide, and he wants to apply high pressure. And I think it kind of worked, right?
Yeah.
It was the system that they wanted to pin everybody in. Those guys are better in terms of applying pressure and really playing the Roger Schmidt style than a Chiquinho is, and maybe we'll see things a little bit different. But I'm just stating that if we are to go by today's game, Chiquinho looks like, and I hope I'm wrong, but Chiquinho, who had a good game. Again, he's had a pretty good season. Let's be fair. He's played pretty well. In the limited time that he's playing, I know today he played the full, but in the limited time that he's played previous to now and the few appearances, he's actually held his own and he's looked good. And today he looked pretty good. But again, it's against Monks. But I'm just stating that if we're going to go by today, maybe Chiquinho is the Enzo replacement.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, right, and understanding, from the mindset of Roger Schmidt, right, understanding that he knows that there's an impending deal that's tied up by little details, little minor things, but that there's a good chance that it's going to go through. If his idea is that Auschwitz is the natural replacement for Enzo, why wouldn't he start him today? Today would have been the day to start Auschwitz in that position.
Bro, I've complained.
Perhaps he's got a different role
I
for
don't know about
Auschwitz.
complaints the right word, but I've mentioned it here, guys. For the Freddies in the chat that listen to us regularly, I think I mention every single week when I see Arsenis playing on the outside, I don't understand why he's not playing in the middle. That's just me. I don't know. To me, he's the perfect box-to-box number 8. I guess Roger Schmidt sees him differently. But now, when you get Anetas back on his game, you get Rafa back, you get Guedes, you get Ramos, I like to think those are the first options to start up top, the starting 4 up top. And then Tino's going to start. And then it's going to be a coin flip between Arsenis and João Mario. And either one of them is going to have to play the 8. That's how I think Benfica is going to line up. But again, it is a little bit head-scratching, right? When first opportunity without Enzo, you see Chiquinho playing there. So, and then, look, let's not forget, then Schaldrup is going to get involved in this at some time. What's his name? The guy that gangster. The guy that
Casper.
Tankstead.
Casper, that's his name?
Casper Tankstead.
I'll just stick with Casper. When Casper is going to be an option at some point, so Benfica do have plenty of other options. And this is more into the Enzo conversation, but there's just so many players that are still going to have a say later on in this season. I think maybe that has a lot to do with the decision making by Benfica. But at least for today, João Mario gets on a scoreboard, not once, but how many times, Alfredo? Twice. The dude's a scoring machine.
Yeah, but
how many goals he got on the year?
And you also got to look at the involvement of Auschwitz.
Yeah, Auschwitz.
He's involved.
Auschwitz made that run through the box.
He's involved. He
Neves
had
picked
that,
him out,
that excellent
crossed it.
on the previous game against Paços Ferreira. He had that 1-2 with Guedes, hits the ball, the goalie saves it. João Mario's there to clean it up, but he's a guy that's constantly involved.
He's another guy
in that final third.
It's a little bit. I'm not comparing the players, but it's a little bit like Gonçalo Ramos, where they don't stop. The guy's always running. He's all over the pitch as well, and he gets himself involved in areas that you don't anticipate that his skill set is going to get him to that, but his movement gets him to that. And you're like, oh snap, he's there. Yeah, it's not because of the Ginga, not because of the. It's just that the guy just doesn't stop working. So look, man, we'll see what happens. I think Benfica is has plenty of options. They made it work today. Peter Musa, a guy that I often criticize, and I still stick by my criticism. I can't wait to see Casper on the field because I want to see if Casper overtakes him in the pecking order. But nonetheless, he comes in.
I got a theory about Musa.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, it was just that.
My theory about Musa is that we don't have anybody in terms of forwards that are Musa style, meaning a tall guy, a guy that's going to win head balls.
He's not even tall.
A guy he's tall.
I think Gonçalo Ramos is taller.
No, he's tall. A guy that's gonna.
I'm sure everybody's tall next to me.
He's gonna be more of a box guy than a guy like Ramos that drops in channels, that drops to the outside. I think that Benfica doesn't have a guy like that. And as I'm trying to work this out on why did Araújo go out on loan and Musa stayed, is because I think Araújo has a very similar style to Gonçalo Ramos.
Araújo?
Yeah.
I don't.
Meaning he's a guy that works a lot, and he's also a guy that's not so much stuck in
I think Araújo wasn't playing because he's not like Gonçalo Ramos. I think Araújo wasn't getting many opportunities because he doesn't have that high motor. I think he's a guy that likes the ball at his feet. He could create. He's got some ginga. Could make dudes miss. He could go around people. And I think because he doesn't bring that intensity is the reason why he wasn't playing. Now, I think ultimately, just my 2 cents, right? And Alfredo, and again, you could have your opinion. That's fine. We know we look at the same thing differently. That's totally understandable. But I think the reason why ultimately he gets loaned out is because why have him on the bench if you're not going to play him? You're stunting his growth. At least let him go out and let him play. And I think that's why Benfica try to put in the clause, like he's got to play over 75% of the minutes or games or whatever, which ultimately Wofford said, no. He's just coming, he's going to play. But if you're going to have him on the bench and you're going to have a guy like Gonzalo Ramos whose motor's through the roof, you got a guy like Musa, who's another guy. I don't think he's anything special, but the guy runs around all line. He pressures a lot, right? You're not going to play this guy. Then you bring in Casper, who, I mean, on YouTube videos, we all look great, but I'm assuming he's got that high motor as well. When do you play on Rouge? You don't.
Yeah.
So let him go and get some minutes.
I get that. So important win for Benfica up north again in a pitch that was very bouncy. The ball bounced around a lot. It was cold, But these are the type of wins, especially in the winter, that win you championships.
So we got some contradicting comments here on the chat. We got Diogo Reis who says he agrees with you. I'm guessing he's talking about
what?
Araujo, right? Similar to
I think that there's a bigger distinction between Musa and Ramos than it is between Araujo and Ramos.
And our boy Michael Gonçalves from Cantinho Benfiquista, I guess he's done recording his pod and he's now here. He says, I disagree. He's a box type of striker. He's not a link-up play like Ramos. Yeah, I think that's right. And then Rating Entertainment says he's a box striker without the physique of a box striker. So, look, it is what it is.
The thing is that we haven't seen enough of Araujo to even be able to really peg him for what he is.
What, 25 minutes into the pod and I just dropped the first and only like, come on, guys, drop it. Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. What's he referring to? I'm confused.
Like the video.
Put a like on the video. We usually don't.
Oh,
we're
hey, everybody.
We're terrible at this. Put a like.
Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, everything, bro.
OnlyFans.
Hey, put a like on it.
No, because what I wanted to say is like we very rarely do we come on at 9:30 on a dot. What I was thinking is, why don't you hit the notification bell so like that when we're live, you get a little notification. You don't have to sit here wondering whether we're coming at 9:30, 9:45, 9:57, whatever it is.
The important thing is that we're on.
But drop a like, of course. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. Hey, hit it right down the bottom here. Dave,
Carlos Amaru says Araujo played like 8 minutes total. Hard to figure him out. Just on that.
I get that.
One of the Valadons, I don't know. There's like 10 of them on here. It feels like at times true. Shame on me. I usually like the video right. Come on, Nick, and I'm gonna call you out by name because you didn't like it right away. The other Valadon,
I think that people just get excited just watching us.
Oh, yeah,
and they forget about hitting the like button.
They fall in love.
They were so intrigued of what we had to say today, they forgot to hit the like button.
It's
but
amazing.
we're up to 9 likes now, so people are.
Yeah, let me remind everyone that I will be putting in a link for Zoom. So if you guys want to join us a little later. And state your opinion. I know that a lot of you guys want to blow some steam.
Sharpen. Let's go.
Mike, but I'll put that
Mike.
Dave, stats on this game if you have, so we can move on.
Yeah, Chris wanted to know how many goals João Mario has this season. He's up to 14 now with his brace today.
That
he
is
scored
nuts.
10 in the league. So a lot of these are padded because he is the club's penalty taker. But the last 2 games, he's scored 3, not from the penalty spot. He's only 2 away from Gonzalo Ramos and Fran Navarro for the league leader in goals this season. And Chris's boy, like we mentioned, Musa returns to the score sheet. His 7th goal of the season, first goal for Musa since November 20th when he scored against Estrela for the Taça da Liga.
Yeah. All right. So now to what everybody wants. Winter transfer window.
Sheik Marcelino says, Enrique Araujo is Pipo Inzaghi. You need to be fed, not really one to work or impose his physique. SLBEES, Araujo is better option than Musa to come off the bench, but Roger knows best. Pizzi and Braga. Yes, Cindy. Pizzi's in Braga.
Yeah.
What's his name? The other little guy.
Apparently, the fan base didn't really want him at Braga.
Yeah, they weren't too happy, bro. And I think they made it be known.
Yeah. Let me, Dave. You wanna go through the list? You have the list. I have the list. I could go through the list.
I'm good with whatever.
Let Dave go.
All right,
through
Dave.
It,
Go with the
Canada,
list. Let's go with the ins first, and then the outs.
Ins, Casper Tankstead for 9.5 million euros. Sheldrup in for 14. and Gedge in on a loan.
And on the outs,
And on the outs, Diogo Gonçalves to Copenhagen, 2.5 million euro. Helton Late out to Turkey on a free. Henrik Avruju, like we are saying, to Watford on a loan. Tomas Tavares to Spartak Moscow for 3 million. João Vitor to Nantes for a loan. John Brooks, we made some money off him, 500,000 to Hoffenheim in Germany. Chris's neighbor Gilles Diaz to Stuttgart for 2 million. Jermaine Conti, remember him? He's out on a free to Lokomotiv Moscow. And then today, Paulo Bernardo to Passos on a loan. And that other guy who went to London today for 121 million.
You forgot Pinho to
Pinho.
Curitiba, and Yoni Gonzalez.
Johnny Gonzalez went to Porto B.
Portimonense. All right, Enzo. Let's address the elephant in the room. So according to what Benfica announced to the CMVM, 121 million. Chelsea is going to pay the forming fees. 25% is going to be owed to River Plate. 6.5% is Benfica is going to pay in commissions, for a total of 82 million that Benfica is going to clear off the deal. Chris, we all know that there's a sporting aspect to it and there's a financial aspect to it, right? I think that all of us Benfiquistas wanted Enzo to stay to finish out the year. Chris, as mentioned here, with Enzo, we're a much better team in the Champions League. Now, all of a sudden, we lose. What happens to this Benfica team? Do you think that it affects the team? It affects the group? It affects the morale?
Where to go with this, man? There's so many different ways I could go with this. I mean, does it affect the team? I think somewhat it does, but at the end of the day, Roger is going to reel everybody in. I think these guys are all professionals. These guys have all been around the block once or twice. They understand that this is the business of football. If you're
use it as a rally cry around the team, right?
Yeah, for sure. If you're thinking about this through the fans' glasses, you're coming away with a totally different outlook, with a totally different taste in your mouth than if you're thinking about it from a club's perspective. I, for one, I think I've said it and I voiced it more than once on the podcast a few weeks ago. I said I thought Benfica should just let him go at the time. Just it is what it is. When a player wants out and you have these astronomical numbers being offered to a club in the Portuguese league, which is a number that no Portuguese club can reject. And there's many clubs throughout world football that can't reject these types of offers. Yeah. I understand the uproar. I understand the displeasure and the fact that Benfica, at the end of the day, did not bring anyone in to replace him. But as I mentioned before, with the arrival of Gonçalo Guedes, could play on the wing, could play up top. With the arrival of Casper and Schaldrup, right? Those are guys that Benfica spent a nice penny on and guys that we all hope that they can contribute at some point. Therefore, forces João Mario and forces Arsenal into the middle. Chiquinho is a guy that's proven that he could play at least against these Mancos. Maybe Benfica is a little bit better served than what we all anticipate. Yes, it's not Enzo Fernandes. I think we'd all love to have Enzo at least for the remaining of the season, but it's a risk that Benfica could not take. They had to take this money. It's $82 million in their pocket.
That's crazy
today.
Money, man.
And this is €82 million euro profit on not even 6 months, because if you take away the 2 months that he was at the World Cup, right, month and a half or whatever, you're talking about a player that was here for 4 months and they made 82 million bucks.
It's crazy, man.
It's a tremendous business deal. As a fan, you don't like it. As a fan, I understand the criticism, and as I stated before, I'll say it again. I said it on this podcast weeks ago that Benfica says just get it over and done with, because it's going to happen. I understand the fans saying, why wasn't Benfica prepared if they knew they ultimately could not reject such a deal? I get that totally, man. I'm a fan at the end of the day. Okay? First and foremost, I'm a fan. I totally understand that, and it does upset me. But I'm trying to look at it through a Portuguese club's glasses. I'm trying to look at it through a director's glasses. These are business deals that to a fan may not make sense. Definitely will not please us. But to the club, man, it would be very irresponsible, to be brutally honest with you guys. And I know majority of you will not like this response, but it will be criminal and irresponsible for Benfica to turn down such an offer, because this could really balance the books. And maybe, just maybe, Benfica still holds on, wins the Campeonato, and maybe they spend a lot of that moolah because they will be getting some more from Champions League participation, and probably another player will leave in the summer. And then they really strengthen their roster next year, and they'll even have a better team. But I understand everybody's displeasure, man. It's a bittersweet moment. It leaves a sour taste in the mouth. It's as if, and I asked Hugo this because Hugo's been hooting and hollering all day, calling me for updates and yelling, there's got to be someone coming in. And, obviously all of us feel the same way. But as I mentioned to you, what I'm going to ask you guys here on the podcast, Dave, and the Freddies, feel free to chat, please. Please, ladies and gentlemen. We love your participation.
I'm gonna be
Alfredo,
posting the link very soon.
the question I have for you guys is this. Let's say Enzo.
Don't ask the question yet. We'll wait for them to come in, and you could ask the question.
I could
live.
ask it now, and then they could just comment on it, right? And they come in if they want to touch on it or not. But I want to know your feelings and Dave's feelings. Let's say Enzo Fernandez, Benfica agrees to sell Enzo January 17th, right? And now it's January 22nd and 23rd, and you still get the arrivals of Casper, Schaudrup, and then the next day you get Getz. Do you still look at this as a window that Benfica didn't bring anybody in? Do you still look at it with the same eye, the same look that you're giving it now as look, Benfica sold a guy at the 11th hour and they didn't bring anybody in? So the question is, if Benfica sold him the 17th and brought in those same 3 signings 3 days later, would you still feel the same way?
Was the clause triggered? That's
exact deal, Dave. That's
deal. What's holding me up. That's what's pissing me off about this.
Ahead,
is that
Dave,
Rui Costa has been coming in front of the cameras, is trigger the clause or you're not getting the player. And now, I'm hearing mixed messaging. One, it's installments, but Benfica's getting that money up front by a third party financing group, and Chelsea's making the payments to that third party. But that's what really bugged me the most, is that if this is truly an installment deal and that the clause wasn't triggered, that makes Benfica and makes Rui Costa look weak, because that means any other shark that comes around next time, they know that they'll say trigger the clause, but really at the end of the day they're gonna fold at the last minute, right? So that's what triggers me the most here, is that we stood firm right up until the last minute, and if indeed it wasn't a clause that was triggered and it ended up being by installments, then one, that makes us look weak. And if you want to say that we had no time to go and sign a replacement, you can make that argument as well. But what really pisses me off is that we stood firm with this trigger the clause, and then at the last minute we folded. So I'm really interested to see how Rui Costa.
Dave.
But Dave, here's the thing, Dave.
Was it triggered? Like, I'm hearing mixed things.
Yeah, the clause was triggered. 121 million. It was triggered.
If it was triggered, then that's nothing we can do at that point.
No.
If
I think the biggest thing was
there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, the biggest thing was the installments, and Roger Schmidt said the same thing, right? And he said Benfica is much bigger than one player, and if a player is not happy to be here, I only want players that want to be here. That's what he said.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of us, again, as I mentioned before, and I'm trying to be calm here because
Let's open this up to the Freddies.
I don't want anyone to get to get the wrong idea and get offended. But guys, please, for 1 second, one quick second. You too, Dave. You know I love you. Stop looking at this through the fans' eyes, right? You have to really look at this and be smart about the whole situation. So Benfica was trying to do, this is called negotiations one-on-one. You hold out, you play, give them that poker face, you don't give away an inch. I'm sticking to this, and I'm sticking. What was Benfica? What do you guys think Benfica was going to say 2 weeks ago? Yeah, we're going to play tough, but at the end of the day, we're really going to let them go for 115, guys, or 90 or 8. Benfica's going to say all the right things publicly because they will try to maximize their value. They will try to maximize their return profit. And that's exactly what they've done. Now, you might not like the way that they did. And I understand that. I think I've clearly stated it multiple times in the last few minutes that, look, at the end of the day, Benfica, guys, please. Bro, it pains me to say this from the bottom of my heart. As painful it is to say, we are a selling club. We are a selling league. And I understand our finances might be a little bit better today than they were. Not today. Or this year than they were last season. Right? But at the end of the day, we're still a club that relies on selling players. And until the world governing body of football changes some rules in terms of TV revenue and how much money Portuguese teams make the Champions League, if it's equal to English Premier League and all the other leagues, ahead of us in the top 5, Benfica is going to depend on selling players. And, bro, they were going to negotiate publicly in a public market that we're not going to move away from the 120 release clause, right? And at the end of the day, they came in, whether they triggered it, they didn't trigger. Benfica's going to wind up getting the max amount, which was a deal of 121 minus the 25% to River Plate, minus the 6.5%, which that's the one part I really wanted to go about, but I left it alone. I don't understand why Benfica really needs to pay commission in this half, because at the end of the day, Chelsea's the one that needed everything done for them, because Benfica, again, if they were quote-unquote holding tight and standing by and hanging on to the release clause being triggered, Benfica really didn't need anybody working on their behalf, intermediating on their behalf. So I don't understand that part of it. But that's another conversation for another day. Now, it just is what it is. Portuguese clubs and Benfica are selling clubs. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that you guys...
Anybody that's not if you're not in the Premier League these days, it seems like
or
you're
Barcelona, Real Madrid,
like
and Bayern Munich. Everybody else has to sell. Everybody has to sell.
That's a different topic for another day.
Yeah, that's another topic for another day. And then here's the thing. Everybody's assuming that, like I seen somebody mention here a little while ago. I forget who it is, guys. Sorry, because good job to you guys. A lot of you coming in with comments. But somebody mentioned about Benfica to make some extra money, yada, yada, yada. Look, if Benfica handles their business and beats Club Bruges, I think Benfica could beat Bruges with or without Enzo. Yeah. And let's say then they draw a Real Madrid, a Man City, a Bayern Munich, one of these, a PSG again, right? One of these Sharks. I understand you might like it, and I might. We all like our chances better with the Enzo on the field.
No doubt.
But realistically, odds are we're probably going to get eliminated there too.
Right.
So it is what. So like to go on, hold on to Enzo, reject 120 to go and lose in the next round, regardless. Might as well get to 120 because nothing in the world of football is guaranteed. And it pains me to say this, guys. Trust me. I wish I would have kept Enzo. But it's just the land of the day.
Out of our hands.
It is what it is, man.
It's out of our hands.
That guy deserves the biggest trampoline sponsorship deal in the history of trampoline.
But Dave,
sign a contract for eight.
Did he not call it, Dave? Did he? What did I tell you a couple weeks on the podcast?
And then after the whole fiasco at the beginning of the month where he missed training and tried to force a move and then comes next game, scores, beats on the crest, and then he ends up pulling this shit right at the end. That guy, there's players that come through the club and you still want to see them have success once they leave the club. This guy, he can go fuck himself. I've got no emotional attachment to this guy.
Look,
burn in hell.
I think at the end of the day, there's no more loyalty. That's what it is.
Cindy Souza asks,
just really quick, before you go to Cindy, I'm gonna post the link on the chat for Zoom. All right. If you decide to join us, and we encourage you to join us, you'll have 2 minutes, 3 minutes to speak your mind, but only sound, no camera.
Everybody's allowed to come on, but Diogo Reis. Diogo can't come on because he's talking about signing Thiago Dantas and Guga. Diogo wants to finish in third place. But feel free to join us. Cindy asked, if Benfica does not wind up winning the title this season, who's to blame? It's real simple. It's Rui Costa. The first one. Yeah. That's my man, my idol, whatever the whole nine. But again, he's my idol as a footballer, as a director, president. We got to judge him separately. But at the end of the day, he's the guy responsible for if this ship sinks. He's the one that ultimately press accept, regardless of everything I just said in regards to not turning down 120, all that stuff goes down the drain, okay? He's responsible. Roger Schmidt will be on that list, but he's the guy that ultimately has to take the darts in the back.
Hugo wants to join us.
Hey, Paulo, who's this guy?
Did he get a microphone?
No, he's cheap.
Hey, pa, these guys, no video. So he puts on the video. Turn off the video, pa. There you go. Or else you're going to kick Dave out. Can you hear us?
No, now he disconnected.
Go, caras. Amateurs.
That's what it is. All right, next up. Who's next in line? Where are you calling from?
No, what were you saying now, Dave? Yeah, if you join us, it has to be don't turn on your camera or turn off your camera before you join us because you'll end up kicking Dave off the screen there.
Yogu says I don't have Zoom. You're lucky. I guess he's referring to.
Yo, give us your number. I'll give you a call, man.
We gonna call him?
We're gonna call Diogo. Diogo. Well, you can't do it. You can't put his number. Oh, here you go.
2 people. Here we go.
All
Oh
right.
man, these guys are lining up.
All right. So, it's still Hugo.
Twice.
All right. All right. Let's see if we could get Hugo on.
Hey, who's on the line?
You was just here.
Where are you calling from?
You was just
Where's
here.
our producer?
He's joining.
Our producer's in the chat talking about I agree with Dave.
He's joining.
Dave did his dirty. Enzo did his dirty from the beginning,
Okay. Hugo is here.
and he's back on
Here, guys,
camera.
with the camera.
This
Shut-
guy.
Desliga a câmera, pá.
Que aquela cara também, bro, não queria estar on camera, bro. Por amor de Deus.
Malta, estão-me a ouvir?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Turn off your camera.
Where are you calling from?
Yeah, where are you calling from?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My basement. Peraí.
Desliga a câmera,
I
pá.
mean, at this point, dude, just grow with it, man. Just
agora?
just
Just
say,
go with
Yeah,
it.
we can hear you.
we can hear you, bro. It's not
We'd
about
just rather
the.
not see you. But go ahead. Go ahead, Hugo. Go ahead.
What's the question? I missed the question.
No, the question. There's no question. There's no question. I'm giving a
Bro, the
forum.
floor is yours. Let's
Yeah.
hear you say, bro. What you got to
whole-
say? And yo, by the way, you're already 110 seconds into your 2 minutes. So hurry up.
What I have to say is that the transfer window was a success up until today. I think it's unacceptable the way it turned out. I'm okay with Rui Costa. If I was in his shoes, I should say. I think at the end of the day, I think most of us would have probably done what he did. At the end of the day, if you have a player pressuring to exit, you also don't want a bad apple left in the locker room for the rest of the season. There's a lot of trophies on the line. So I'm okay with him leaving. What I'm not okay is with a replacement not having been brought in. That to me is unacceptable. I think that sends a horrible message to your fan base, sends a horrible message to the coach, who's done an incredible job, and to the locker room as well. Chris, we've spoken about it during the month of January, right? Like, what type of message would it send now to let Enzo go? Now that we've been preaching, success all season, as we should. This club should always preach success. I do not like the way today went down, man. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I agree with you, Hugo. I agree with you because there was clearly something going on with this Benfica, right? What we're building, having Roger Schmidt come in with a new mentality. Even the acquisitions that we've made have been very good. Have been with the intent of benefiting the team and not so much agents' pockets and people that are gaining on the commission's pockets. So there's definitely something that's going on here in terms of Benfica, in terms of the direction that the club is going in, right? I think as a fan, it's the age-old question of even bringing players from the youth team that are really good players, and then not even have them play a whole year for us and getting moved on. So I get all of that. To me, and I think that I agree with you, and I saw you typing on the chat earlier, is that the fact that I thought that the team could have prepared a little better for this, and they didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly my sentiment. Again, it's just it leaves a bit. You know what's weird, guys? It's Benfica played today. Benfica won. Benfica extended the lead in the league table, albeit we have 2 games more than our rivals. But it almost feels like a day where there's a loss involved. I don't know if you guys feel that way or not. It's just a weird feeling the way today transpired. Just leaves a very, very sour taste in your mouth. Those are my sentiments. And just to clarify, a couple of the people in the chat, What I was saying earlier, and again, this is being reported by all major outlets in Portugal, is that Benfica is getting that cash up front. Chelsea is the one that's going to be funding that third party in installments.
Yep.
Um, Obviously, again, we know how the press is. Some press is true, some press isn't. That's what I heard leading to the final minutes of the deadline, is that Benfica will be getting all of this cash up front.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but
And we don't have to
definitely-
pay Enzo that 2 million loyalty bonus, right?
No. Apparently we don't, and we also, a lot of people out there saying that we did not pay 18 for Enzo because half of his objectives were not triggered because he didn't play enough games. So I believe the final fee is 14 million.
You know what? That's probably not a bad deal. It's not
No,
a bad deal that
deal-wise, I mean, it's
we
fantastic.
don't have to pay that extra money, especially on the incentives. If there was, I know that I think he hit one of the incentives, if I'm not mistaken, but there was some other ones that he didn't hit. So I get that.
He hit a couple. Of them. I think we were on the hook for 4 more million.
Right.
But the other 4 million, he didn't play. No jogos suficientes.
All right. So Hugo, what's your outlook for the rest of the season, and who do you think is the natural substitute for Auschwitz? I mean, for Auschwitz, for Enzo.
You said it. I think Auschwitz slots into that role. My concern is if there's an injury or a knock, the squad now is the depth isn't enough. And I agree with what Chris and you guys were saying earlier, that Shikin, to his credit, has had a decent season. Roger Schmidt has pretty much turned his career around, at Benfica at least. But again, is that going to leave us confident enough that if there's an injury, Shikin can take over? I don't think so. I think domestically, the squad is enough. I think we have a pretty good cushion. Hopefully, the cushion gets bigger, if our rivals drop points, which we all hope they will. I just look at it. I think, again, we all had a little bit of aspirations in the Champions League. I mean, Chris raised a good point. If we kept Enzo and now we draw, let's say we get past Bruges and we draw Madrid or a City, even with Enzo, I mean, our chances are slim. But the point is, our European campaign this year was much more Benfica-like. It's the
Consistent,
Benfica
at
that
least.
we've all won. Sorry?
Consistent, for sure.
Correct. This European campaign is what we want to see from Benfica, and I think we all had a little bit of a glimmer of hope that maybe we can achieve a semifinal, maybe even who knows, a final. So that my disappointment comes in more. I think internationally, our squad now is short to really pull anything crazy in the UCL.
Yeah, I agree. There was something that we said here was the fact that we needed a Matador to have that edge in the Champions League, and we really didn't bring anyone, even though the Sheldrup is out there and Casper is out there, but we don't know what these guys are capable of. But I thought that Enzo, at least from a defensive standpoint, or at least from a player that can balance a team, I mean, that's going to be a huge miss. So, but we'll see. And Roger, we trust, right?
Definitely, Roger's been fantastic so far,
Yeah.
and I hope he continues.
Então vá lá.
Hey, I'm gonna give up my antenna time to somebody else.
All right. Who else
Thanks,
wants
guys.
to come
Prega
in?
Benfica.
You. Who else wants to come in? Posting the link again. You guys are all shy. Carlos, come on, Carlos. Let's go. Cristiano wants to talk to everyone.
What do you
I
need
know
me to
you
say?
got a lot
Let
of the
me talk.
Freddies in the chat were disappointed that no replacements were signed, but
Yeah, I think
were
that's
talking
my
about this-
my biggest thing about it, about the whole deal. And there was some.
we were mentioning this beforehand, and I just Googled it as well. For the Champions League registration, there's rules that you can only register a maximum of 3 new eligible players before the knockout round. So if we've already got Casper, Sheldrup, Gedge, and I think this is going to be what happens with Chelsea, or Chelsea is going to have to leave some of these new signings out of their Champions League squad going forward, because you can only register 3 new players going into the new knockout rounds of the Champions League.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's, and there was a rumor today. There was some pieces of news in the ball. I think that Benfica was interested in a young midfielder from Boca, Varela.
Yeah. But that's something they're gonna be lining up for the summer.
But
I just wanted to answer something to Tiago Ferreira, who's talking about that the transfer window is still open in Portugal until the 2nd, and I just wanted to reafirm that. No, it closed today, January 31st.
Yeah,
there's different in Turkey. It closes January 8th. February. There's different countries that have different, but Portugal aligns with the rest of the major countries in football.
They could still sell, but they can't buy.
Yeah, but anybody
because
can
we
still
always
sell.
ran into this issue where afterwards the Russian clubs would come in and buy one of our players or the Turkish clubs, but we can no longer buy, but we can.
But
somebody's got
Dave,
money out
you
there.
could always sell.
yeah,
You can always sell to different leagues, I guess.
Yeah.
The CONCACAFs, the Asia, whatever. You could always sell. Selling is anybody can sell, but it's about bringing in the player. There's certain countries that are already closed, and obviously Portugal is one of those that aligns with England, Germany, Italy, France, all the major, Spain, all the major countries there.
I'm actually looking at a memo from the Liga Portugal that states what day is the last.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now too. I was
the
pretty certain, but I
31st.
had to confirm. Now, the biggest question I got is, what's up with all these guys in the chat? Everybody got a lot to say.
They're all in bed.
Nobody-
They're like freaking velhotes.
Nobody wants to join here. And
Nobody wants
obviously
to
be
wake
heard.
up their wife at.
Yeah, everybody's
at
in
this
bed.
hour.
Carlos is in bed. The Valadão brothers are in bed. What's going on, man? You guys go to bed this early? It's like, it's like velhotes. Velhotes go to bed early. Come on, man. But anyway, if you don't want to join us, that's fine. Maybe for another time. But yeah, I'm going to put the link one more time just in case somebody gets brave.
Yeah.
But
Whatever you do, don't do like Hugo. Don't turn on your camera only to just point it at your ceiling. Then, so, if you're gonna turn it on, get your beautiful face in the camera.
not only did he knock out Dave off the picture, but as though we looked at it his basement ceiling
Beautiful
the whole time.
beautiful ceiling.
The whole
Phenomenal.
time.
Yep.
It's great stuff, Hugo. Great stuff.
Very
No,
proud.
but thanks, Hugo, for joining us.
But yeah, but Alfredo, man, look, it's as I mentioned before, it's bittersweet. It's another one of those crazy deals. I mean, it's the most expensive transfer in the history of the English Premier League, breaking Grealish from Aston Villa, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of balancing the books, in terms of finances, it's terrific. But it does leave a sour taste in your mouth. You really saw this team throughout the season play lights out football, in particular before the World Cup break. If you guys recall, man, we were hitting on all cylinders. And, we haven't really played up to that level since we've returned. But nonetheless, we knew it was there. We knew the potential was there. We saw what Enzo did against the PSGs, the Juventus of this world, and everybody else we played throughout the season. And it was just, it was one of those moments we wanted to see him finish out the season because we wanted to really witness this team together and playing at the same level throughout these knockout stages here in the Champions League. But unfortunately, we can't see it. But you know what, man? Listen,
There we go.
we love this club because of Benfica. It's about Benfica. It's not about any one player. I'm the biggest Rui Costa fan, and he left my club, and my love for my club didn't change. And so we just have to move on and look for brighter days ahead.
Bruno is here. Bruno.
Hey, how you going, guys?
Good,
Bruno,
man. How are
okay.
you, man?
Calling from nice and cold Montreal from Canada.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Yeah, let's
Nice.
go Rangers.
Mon-
Forget the Canadians.
Montreal representing. How are you, man? What's on your mind?
How's it going? I'm a bit disappointed with Enzo, but listen, we couldn't say no. I heard they saying it was the highest transfer all time on Premiership, and
Yeah.
Benfica did it. So how could we say no?
Yeah.
And I think CMTV was saying that at some point Enzo had the chance of make the deal and still stay in Lisbon. I didn't want to. That's why Roger Smith was a bit upset and at the end of the game. I don't know if that's true or
I
not,
was
but
told,
that's what they
Bruno,
think.
I was told the same thing via text message from someone in Portugal. I was told that same exact thing even before the game was done, that Enzo had the option of staying until the end of the season, that he opted not to.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, look, I believe that person that tells me that. But at the end of the day, man, we've seen Sam TV, we've seen the journalists in Portugal making a bigger meal out of this than what it really is to bring some drama to it.
Yeah.
I guess, until we get some parties to confirm it, look, we'll take it for what it is. And if it is true that he rejected to stay to the end of the season, which I was told he's still upset at Rui Costa for not accepting the deal in the first place, and that's why he rejected it. That's why he said, no, I want out now. And if that is the case, man, it's definitely not a good look on Enzo. But I think all of us at this point are ready to turn the page. I mean, Enzo to us, epa, morreu, acabou.
Yeah, that's it. If you want to stay, that's it. We can't believe. To me, I only watch Benfica TV because all these guys are anti-Benfiquistas anywhere.
Yeah.
I was watching Sunday at the futsal women and guys, and these guys on channel 11 or RTP, they're all against Benfica. It's like they were really sad Benfica was winning. So don't listen to anyone, just Benfica TV, and that's it.
Yeah, when Benfica is in first.
Nah, Bruno, I disagree. Don't listen to anyone. Just listen to Benfica Podcast.
There you go.
When Benfica is in first, it bothers a lot of people, right? And I'm sure that our opponents are rubbing their hands that we lost arguably our best player, right? So they have to be encouraged by everything. But on top of it, now they throw in these things to destabilize the group, and we all know that this group is pretty strong.
Yeah, I just have the feeling like today, like the other guy said, that it's like a bit of a loss. I kind of have like a feeling of we lost the brains of the team, something like that. I need someone like the chief, the boss in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Enzo was it, but hey, Chiquinho had a pretty good game today. Chiquinho, Arsenal were good. Maybe the two Nordish guys were being good in front. So who knows?
Yeah. Now we shall see. Like I said, in Roger we trust.
And I'm really looking forward to beat these guys, the Bruges, and then meet Chelsea and eliminate Chelsea.
Yeah, that would be great, man. That would be a great story.
I'd take a 4-3 victory in the second game with Felix scoring 3 goals, but we still advance. I think that'd be a perfect world. And Enzo
scored
gets slapped around. Yeah, 4-3. That's the thing. We win 4-3.
Scores 3.
I don't care who scores. Chiquinho could score all 4 for all I care.
Good. Bruno, thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it, Bruno.
For voicing your opinion.
Thank you for listening, man.
Take care, guys. Stay warm on this winter. Go Carrega Benfica.
Carrega. Just wanted to give a shout out to Raining Entertainment. I'm sorry I didn't catch this before, but Raining said I broke my leg and I've been stuck in bed for a couple months now. So, man, listen, speedy recovery, bro. Anything you need from us, don't hit us up because we're not going to be able to do it.
That's not nice.
No, but all jokes aside, man. Look, speedy recovery, best wishes to you, buddy.
Yeah, the most we can hope is that our podcast serves as entertainment for you while you have your leg in the cast. So, anyway, on to next topic. Casapia's up next. What's Casapia?
By the way, we could anybody wants to come on, hit the link. Just let us know. Come on. Hop on, people. Hop on.
Yeah, so up Casapia at Stadio Luz on Saturday, 6 p.m. Local time. What's Casapia up to, Dave?
This season, they're kind of. I was surprised when I was looking into this. They're the Cinderella story of this season. They're up in 5th place with 30 points from 9 wins, 3 draws, 6 defeats at the moment. So for a team that's just coming up from the 2nd division, really doing well here in the first half of the season. Historically against Casapia, 26 wins, 7 draws, 5 losses. And the earlier meeting this season, 1-0 victory here for Benfica with the goal coming from Gonçalo Ramos.
Yeah, I remember that Goodwin guy giving us all kinds of trouble in that first game. But yeah, actually they have a very good record away from their stadium. 5 wins, 1 tie, and 2 losses.
Yeah, but have they played at Stadio Luz yet?
They have not.
Okay.
But at least they've played the whole first round already, and I mean that's not a bad showing. But they have done well. They have done well for themselves. What are you thinking, Cristiano? You think that now that the transfer window is behind us,
you know what I think, Alfredo?
The team is focused.
I think that come Saturday, the Stadio Luz is going to be alive and vibrant. I think the outpour of support from the fans is going to be one of those moments that we were not going to forget for a while, because I think they're going to want to show these guys. At least I hope so, right? At least I hope that these guys show up and show the ones that stayed, the ones that are here, that this club is behind them at all costs. É aquela, não é preciso, só é preciso quem cá está.
Yeah.
I hope that I understand. I've seen through Twitter and stuff, and a lot of guys here, the Freddies on our chat, displeased and upset with the way that this went down in the final hour. But at the end of the day, man, we got to put that behind us. That's something that we can talk about in the summer. Right now, it's support this club, be there, show these guys that, we appreciate them, we appreciate their hard work, and that, we look forward to the rest of the season and supporting these boys and having these boys playing to the best of their ability.
I think so. I think that now that the transfer window is closed too, and we cleaned up a little bit of our roster, that I think that the focus is back on, doing the best you can to win the championship, and it's one game at a time. And there's a lot of games that come up.
And before we go, Fred, I don't know if you're looking to wrap this up, but I just had to mention this. Carlos, the gynecologist Carlos Amaro, says, love how Roger shuts down any potential destabilizing situation immediately. And look, man, Roger, I think, who was it? I don't know if it was somebody on Twitter mentioned that Roger should be getting paid double because the guy does a phenomenal job as a coach and as a public relation. The dude is really the guy that comes out, shows his face, and sticks out his neck for this club. We've seen it with the Enzo situation when he's, obviously we don't know if he meant it or not, but, telling Chelsea we're not selling unless it's 120. The guy's really given his face and pumped his chest for to defend this club at all costs. So credit to him, and I think it's a good point by Carlos.
Yeah, but it'll be a tough game against Casa Pia, as Nelson Carvalho says. They're really tough to break down. Yeah, they've been the Cinderella team of this team of the season.
They've tied Porto and they've beaten Braga so far through the first half of the season here. So not going to be an easy test, but it's going to be good to be back home. These last 3 games have been on the road, so back at the Estadio de Luz, get that light show going before the game, get the fans pumped up. And I think if there's ever going to be a game where we score those 4 or 5 nothing score lines that you guys have been predicting these last couple of weeks, I think Saturday might show that there.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the crowd will show up. The crowd will be behind the team, behind Roger Schmidt, behind Rui Costa. And look, I know that there's a lot of people upset right now about what has gone on and with Rui Costa. But look, at the end of the day, and as Chris says, you take away your red tinted glasses, and look, this is an amazing piece of business. It sucks losing a player that's so crucial and such a nuclear piece to this team, but it's very hard to pass up. February, 5 games in February. First one is in Casa Pia, that's home. Then on the 9th, we go up to the Pedreira to play Braga for the Portuguese Cup. On the 15th, we go to Belgium to play Club Brugge, and first game of the knockout stages of the Champions League. Then we're back in Portugal at Stadio Luz on the 20th to play against Boa Vista. And we cap off the month of February on the 25th with a trip to Vizela. So a very busy February month for Benfica. Crucial games, Taça de Portugal games, Champions League away game is always an interesting fixture, especially in the knockout stages. So Benfica definitely has their work cut out for them. But as I mentioned, hopefully with this winter transfer season being over, the team can now focus and not have as many distractions that they've had this whole month of January, especially with the guys going out, guys trying to define the situations. The Gil Diaz of the word, the Hugo Rouge, why did I say Hugo Rouge? All of those guys defining the situations. Elton Milk also going, the Paulo Bernardo, all those guys, I think that a lot of those guys, are a little bit of morale come down, if you will, because, obviously they're not happy with their current situation. So it's good. It was good that we cleaned house. that we got rid of some dead weight, and now it's just look forward, man. Look forward and go. Look forward and go. Chris, final thoughts before we go. You've had a long day. Many phone calls.
My mic's muted. I've had a long day, man. It is what it is, man. Just ready to put it behind us. Yeah, it sucks that Enzo's not here, mas o Benfica é maior que qualquer jogador and carry
Please
on,
stop
baby.
with that guy. He's done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Arrivederci.
That's it. I care as much about Enzo as I care about Darwin.
Huh?
I care as much about Enzo as I care about Darwin.
Darwin, you still got to care about because there's still another $25 million at stake. So he'll open, he triggers it. Enzo, it's
But I mean,
21.
once those guys leave Benfica, man, I mean, there's no
Nah, there's guys I root.
There's no emotional. João Felix is
I root
different.
for João. My boy Jetson, I still root
think
for.
that-
There's plenty of guys I root for.
I think that the thing with João Felix is like if you're a football fan, you can't help but enjoy watching Felix because he's so elegant with the ball at his feet, and he's a good player. So I think I'll watch my fair share of Chelsea games because he's on there, just like I watched Madrid's games when he was on there. But not that I fancy the team, but certainly because, I like to watch him play. Yep. Anyway, let's get out of here. I want to thank all the Freddies for joining us, Hugo and Bruno for coming on. Everyone else going to bed early. Good for you. Hope you're nice and warm.
Hope
you're nice and rested.
What I hope is that Rafa and Ramos are back on Saturday. That's what I'm hoping for.
No, even if they skip out on Saturday, we want them for that Braga game.
Yeah, but Dave,
That's what...
look, the important thing is to have these guys, though. You can't drop points. If God forbid you draw this game at home, with Enzo's departure, the negativity is going to set in, man. It's important. It's imperative that we come away with the 3 points. And to me, that's, again, the game and the points is more important, and then everything else. Each game, what is it, Dave? The most important game is the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
that's exactly right. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for keeping the chat alive there. We know that we appreciate you.
Love you guys.
As always. Later. Dave.
Ciao.
Thanks for changing your mind, man.
Later, Dave.
Later.
Later, guys.